Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll be getting started shortly. People are just getting into the session, so please be patient and we'll be back with you.
All right, everyone. We'll give it a few more minutes before we get started. Letting folks log in. All right, for folks just joining, we're going to give it till 1:35 because I see people still logging in. So hang tight. We'll get started here in just another couple of minutes. right, Leo, are you able to share your screen to put up the PowerPoint?
Yes, I'll take care of that.
Perfect. So welcome everyone. We are really excited to have all of you with us today for our first workshop on pathway development. So welcome, and we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. This is a workshop that is funded by the Strong Workforce Project of Career Pathway Specialists in LA County, and I'm very fortunate to be collaborating with two of my colleagues. So my name is Katie Michler. I'm the Regional Director for Employer Engagement for Advanced Transportation and Logistics. And really quickly, if you're not familiar with the role of a Regional Director, it's a very fancy title, but what it really means is we spend all of our time connecting industry with community colleges. And we also have been fortunate in the past 2 years to have funding to spend time really creating those pipelines and pathways from our K12 partners to our community college partners. And this endeavor is part of that program. So I'll ask Ruth and Judy to pop on and introduce themselves.
Great. Leo, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. So we are part of the Proven Ready team. My name is Ruth. I'm the Regional Director for Global Trade. And go ahead.
Sorry, I'm Judy Fox. I'm the Regional Director of Employer Engagement for the Business and Entrepreneurship sector.
Perfect. And Eddie Lynn is one of our strategic partners we'll mention later on from Nexus Edge. And next slide, please, Leah. So we just want to say we're very excited to have all of you here as part of the Proven Ready initiative workshop today. Before we go on and tell you a little bit about what Proven Ready is, I just wanted to kick it off and just say why we decided to cross-collaborate in the first place. Last year when we were given this grant, and around this time, actually around in October, we really were intentional in making sure that we kind of put our three heads together, our three sectors together, and create an initiative that will kind of expose students to these sectors earlier on. And high school is a great opportunity for career exploration. So really the first reason is for that career exploration within our sectors. You know, you cannot be what you can't see. And a lot of our three sectors are identified as priority sectors because here in the LA region alone, they provide a lot of jobs, especially in the middle scale area. So we really felt that working with high schools earlier on will give the students access to information about careers early. And really another reason why we decided to cross-collaborate, as you can see from this graph, is many of the programs in our occupations and industry are cross-sector anyways. So when you're talking about supply chain in e-commerce, what is it really? Is it global trade? Is it business? Is it advanced transportation logistics? It's all of them. And really the third reason why we decided is some of these occupations might not be there 7-8 years down the road, or they might be completely reshifted. We know there's a lot of changes in our world due to automation, due to new technologies such as blockchain, and there's just the world is changing as a whole. So we really wanted to focus on the common competencies that are going to help students become competitive in the 21st century. So whether it's entrepreneurial mindset or whether it's global competencies, we really feel students should be exposed to that. So we really were intentional about why we wanted to collaborate and create a whole strategy around it. And that's how Proven Ready was born a year ago. And so Judy will tell you a little bit about what Proven Ready is.
Yes, thank you.
Next slide, please.
So as Ruth kind of touched on, the Proven Ready Classroom College Career Program is a collection of resources that are designed to connect the high school student to college and career pathways. And one of the opportunities afforded to students is to be able to access industry-created digital badges, and that's for students or faculty through simple website access. And these badges address specific skill sets that these companies deem important at this time. So they can earn badges from Google, Citibank, jet fuel, SpaceX, Proper Daily, and a whole bunch of others. But one of our most notable new offerings is the result of a partnership with Shopify. So if students earn 3 of their digital badges, they'll automatically earn a free Shopify store for 1 year. So that's valued at $400. And when finances can be a barrier to students starting their own business and that risk, this program helps to take that away. So whether they're selling auto parts or doing business, in another country, the Proven Ready program a whole bunch of different career spotlights and videos and these digital badge offerings that we can provide to your students for free. So if any of you are interested in learning more about Proven Ready and the offerings that are available to you and your students, then just let us know and we'll let you know how to do that, and we can get your school, your students, your faculty connected lickety split.
Next slide, please. This is kind of where we end up as RDs. We just wanted to kick it off, but we wanted to just also say that we hope this is not the last time we're engaging with you. We have created various mediums where you can always stay connected with us. We have a new Proven Ready website where we're gonna host different resources, especially career spotlights that you can just kind of plug into your classroom. We have a Proven Ready blast that we send out with different events in our sectors, scholarship opportunities, internships, and obviously we try to do these kind of professional development events from time to time. So we really thank you all for joining us, and we really hope to stay connected.
Excellent. And then just a quick housekeeping reminder. This webinar is being recorded. And the PowerPoint, along with other resources and materials, will be available to you as well at the end of the workshop. And also a reminder that this is a 2-day workshop. So the second and final day is going to be next Friday, same time. And so without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to our awesome professor, our trainer, Leo Medina, who teaches at East Los Angeles Community College. He has extensive background in logistics, but also quite a strong presence in pathway development and working closely with our K12 partners. So Leo, I'm going to kick it off to you.
Thank you. Now I'll stop sharing my screen just so I can talk to you for a couple minutes and just introduce myself briefly. My name is Leo Medina. I'm a professor at East Los Angeles College, and my hobby is to build pathway programs that position students for academic and career success. And I enjoy doing that. I firmly believe that pathway programs are career technical education. Some call it career education. I firmly believe that this is really the future of education, and that all education should be thoroughly and completely aligned with a career in mind. As Stephen Covey said, if you start with the end in mind, somehow you'll have a better outlook of the way you view things. So I want to welcome everyone for joining. We got 50 participants, and I'm excited to talk to you about what I've learned in the last decade working in the academic space. And I'll tell you how I lost all my hair in the midst of all of that, all the experience thereof. But it's all, I count it all joy. So I'll again share my screen and walk you through what I've learned in engaging industry. Okay. All right, so I'll move over to a little bit about me. That's me, that's your presenter. Your presenter has 20 years of business experience in the corporate world, most of that at UPS and business operations and human resources. My bread and butter is East LA College. I spend most of my time there in the logistics pathway. I teach part-time at Cal State LA, Cal State San Bernardino's, and also teach at a university or college out in China, Beijing, China. They found me and they said, hey, we think our kids can learn something from you. So I have a lot of fun teaching them all about what we do in the logistics world in the US. And I just put that up there. I hope you're not offended. I put hood skills just because I grew up in East Los Angeles. I live in East Los Angeles. I grew up in the projects, Strata Courts. I learned a whole bunch there. And I still live in East LA, that's by choice. And some of the skills I picked up: resilience, grit, gratefulness, humility, safety first in the hood, right? Safety first, and serving first. You serve first. I learned that, and that's why I stay where I am. Some of the academic achievements: master's in education and leadership, BA in business communication. Some of the hobbies that I do: I build educational pathways, particularly career pathways. I'm a founder. Some of my hobbies is just ventures, right? Medina and Co, Medina plus EDU. And I put some of the curriculum that I develop here. I got 12 books out and all related to business logistics. And so that's a little snapshot of what is logistics. One of the books that we use, some of the high schools pick that up, just to project-based learning, and just to engage the young people, excite them about the careers of the 21st century, and projects, capstones, all that wonderful stuff. So we infuse that in high schools. Got an amazing wife, 4 wonderful children. Not that they're wonderful in themselves in behavior, but they're exactly what I need. And they're off doing wonderful things. My kids range from 16 to 27. You probably won't believe that. 16 to 27. Joyfully volunteering in the church in East Los Angeles. My wife and I oversee all the students and young people's work there. So that's a little bit about me, and I hope I've gained some of your trust as a result. I want to play a pretty cool video here just to kind of prove that I kind of marinated in this career pathway stuff, and that the person that's presenting to you today is in it. My name is Leo Medina. I'm a professor at East Los Angeles College, and I teach courses in technology and logistics. This program is directly tied to industry. We align our curriculum to meet the existing needs and the future needs of organizations. So any college student, any high school student, any business professional taking our courses will get cutting edge, real-time curriculum that will position them to land a job or to move up in their existing job.
The logistics courses just expanded my view, just broadened my horizons and understanding the industry. And finding this job, I was really excited to look for a new place where I could grow, a new place where I wouldn't be stuck at a dead-end job. It was one of the first times that I was able to take something that I'm learning and apply it immediately to a real-life situation.
I work in the central instruction department, and so this is basically the training hub. Some of the things that I've learned in the logistics program, I've been able to apply different methods of teaching, different methods of getting people to understand the information as it's presented. And if they're not, what can I do to make it better?
If you join our program, we're committed to developing you into a problem solver, an innovator, and a business disruptor in the logistics industry. We'll make that commitment to you. There's jobs for everyone. There's careers for everyone. And if you don't believe me, talk to UPS, talk to Metro, and talk to our other industry partners.
Our industry is growing in terms of consumers purchasing more online. And as our business grows, then we're looking for more workers to help us with our volume increase. Professor Medina teaches logistics at East Los Angeles College, and we also recruit at East Los Angeles College. So he's recruiting more students as we're recruiting more workers.
The market itself overall has exploded over the last 2 to 3 years. If the person's well-rounded and has that ability to work hard, learn, develop, we can do the rest.
So whether you're the driver or whether you're the supply chain manager, there's a career for you that pays exceptionally well. One of the lowest paying jobs in logistics is about 50 grand a year. Mid-level is about 80,000. High level is about 120,000 plus. So you choose what you want to do. You choose what program is going to get you there. We can do that for you. Okay. Well, I hope I've gained, oops, sorry about that. Hope I've gained some of your trust with just understanding that I'm involved in it. I'm marinated in it. I believe in it with all my heart. I firmly feel that this is the future of education, project-based, industry-driven. So how do we engage industry? This is the most common pain point that I've noticed in working with schools, middle school, high schools. What the most biggest pain point is, how do we engage industry? They're so busy. They're doing all kinds of things. They don't have time. And so after many years of trying to resolve that problem, I've learned a whole bunch. And so I want to walk you through some very, very, very practical steps of how you can begin engaging industry. Now, you might not have a engaging industry department at your school, or a community relations or a business relations department at your school. Most don't. But I'm going to give you some practical steps of how you can just personally go out there and find 1 or 2, maybe 3 contacts of people in the business world that would be able to engage with you and influence students along with you. Okay, so here are some practical steps that I'll walk you through. First and foremost, what I've learned is that we have to be understanding. And I know we are, but I like Plato's quote, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. And one thing about the business world is that it has exploded with innovation and information. And although that's wonderful, and we benefit from all of it every single day, we see it it's right on our, it's right in the palm of our hand, that smartphone. We see innovation, we see business. And one thing we have to understand is when we engage industry, we have to realize that many of them are going through some, they're working a whole bunch of hours. They're experiencing fierce competition. They are more anxious and stressed than ever before. The average business professional works about 10 to 14-hour days. They have less time with their loved ones, and they're more time in the virtual or physical office. Within this climate, it is crazy to ask people for time to commit to your pathway program, right? And I put crazy in quotes there just because we're crazy. But this is the climate and of the business world, whether it's, logistics, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's in the engineering, in retail. This is the climate that most business people find themselves in. And this is why this is the biggest challenge in the middle schools and the high schools of getting business people involved. They're busy, they're swamped, they're working 10, 14-hour days. So how do we engage them? What do we need to say? What don't we need to say, right? So here are some practical steps. First, how about we learn a little bit of some business lingo, right? We all know what the term ROI. ROI means the return on investment. Industry people want to know, what's the return on investment? If I give you an hour a month, an hour every quarter, if I volunteer for this, if I volunteer for that, most business people are trained to look at everything in the form of a return on investment. What's the return on investment? What's the return on investment of my time? If I give you an hour, what's the return on investment? Now, most of them won't say, hey, what's the return on investment? Although some will, and I've had that a lot. But in the back of their mind, they're thinking, if I give them an hour, where am I going to make this up? I'm going to have to make this up on Saturday morning when I have to be at Johnny's baseball game. I'm going to have to make this up on Sunday morning when I have to be at church. I'm going to have to make this 1 hour up somewhere. So they're considering this. What's the return on investment? My time, my energy, and my finances. And although they're not going to come up with finances to give you necessarily, but there is a cost to traveling from point A to point B and back. So how do you answer this? If they say, well, what's the return on my investment of my time? Or what will we get in return? Well, I'm going to recommend that you approach this response with grace and conviction. Please take note. Please take note. And just on the side, I hope that maybe you're all good students and that you probably have a pen and paper nearby, or a pencil and paper nearby, because I'm gonna give you some practical points. And and be aware, I just might call on you, okay? Here's some practical points. Number one, tell your story. And when you tell your story, when you're before them, tell your story. When you're on the phone with them, when you're writing an email to them, you might want to just stop and tell your story. And here's a famous quote: appeal to the heart, not to the mind. A very good minister once said, a good message moves the heart. A good factual message, theoretical message, theological message moves the heart. Or even a data-driven message, lecture will move the heart. But a story or a testimonial moves the feet. Please write that down. Please write that down. A good message moves the heart. A testimonial moves the feet, or a story moves the feet. So what's your story? What's the story of your pathway? And what's the story of why you entered career education? What's the story? Why did you enter career education? Why are you a teacher? We all know we're not going to become wealthy here, but there's something that moved in our heart for us to become educators, for us to be in the career pathway program. Tell that story. Tell that story. Tell the story of the students you serve. What community do they live in? Are they underrepresented, underserved? Tell that story when you talk to them over the phone, email, text, over a cup of coffee. I do that a lot. Tell the story of the students you serve. Tell the story of the industry you represent and why you represent it and how you feel about the industry. For example, me, Leo Medina, my story. I like to tell people, I'm in the logistics industry, or I spent close to 20 years in the logistics, and this is what the logistics industry did for me. When I got hired at UPS, I was a package handler. I knew this was a global organization. I can go anywhere here, right? Whether I want to be in management, whether I want to be a truck driver, whether I want to fly planes, I can do it all here. And I was a kid, but I knew that. I knew that if I just stuck around, things will happen. After about 8 months, I said, well, I don't want to be handling boxes no more. I was getting a 4-hour gym, 6-hour gym workout at UPS, handling all these boxes. Eventually, I realized someone had approached me and said, you might want to be in the leadership team. You might want to be in a leadership team. There's positions in operations for you. And I thought about that. And I made a decision to do that. And that ended up in a tremendous career pathway where UPS eventually ended up paying for my bachelor's degree, 50% of my master's degree. It gave me opportunities for promotion and lateral moves in business operations, human resources, training, engineering, transportation management. Gave me a variety of skills and expertise. And today I bring these skills to the classroom. I not only bring these skills to the classroom, but I also like to introduce my students to these business professionals because it brings education to life when I do that. I love to take them to tours, to expose them, whatever we're learning in class. Here's the real deal. Here's what's happening right now. So I like to take them to tours. I like to bring guest speakers on. I represent this industry because the logistics industry is the second fastest growing industry in Southern California. And as a result of COVID-19, the whole world has went virtual. The whole world has went virtual. Now we have the 5-year-old ordering their toys online from their smartphone or from dad's smartphone. We have grandma who's 86 years old, who needs her essentials. She's ordering online, all her essentials, and they're all coming same day or next day to our doorstep. That's logistics. And I want to bring this to life in the classroom. See, that's my story. And if I wanted to get deeper, I can tell my story of how I grew up in the projects and how many of my role models were not the best role models. And I went to juvenile hall multiple times, county jail, and I can take it from there. And I can say, hey, you know, at the same time, I knew education was the way out, and I knew I needed a new set of friends. And I got involved in an excellent faith-based community. And I got a job at UPS. All these things work together, right? I can go and tell that story. But the story is going to move the heart. And it's going to tell the industry partner in front of you, before you, that you have a conviction. There's something in you that's driving you onward to influence students and to position them for college and career success. So tell your story. What I want you to do, I'm gonna pause for 5 minutes. What I want you to do as good students, I just want you to write down 3 to 5 bullet points about your story and why you are an educator or a career pathway educator. Why did you get involved in this? What's meaningful to you about career education? So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. At 2:06, we'll come, and I'm gonna be here still, okay? But I want you to just take a couple minutes to do that, 2:06. So I'll be here, and if I can take a look at you, I can take a look at you. If I want you to be writing on a notepad and just write down 2 or 3, maybe 5 reasons why you are an educator, why you got into this business, and why you want to influence students towards academic and career success. So take care of that. And I'll be here. I'll be watching. I'll be watching. Well, and I'll resume my talk at 2:06. And meanwhile, I'll be looking at you. Tell your story. Appeal to the heart, not the mind. Before you get factual, appeal to the heart. We have 3 minutes. And some of you might want to write paragraphs. It's okay. I always say bullet points because I was trained in the business world to make it concise. But if you want to write a paragraph, do that. Absolutely. 2 more minutes. As you finish up, I'll just mention the quote here from Plato. Those who tell the stories rule society. Be a good storyteller and you'll compel people. Compelling busy people requires a story. Compelling busy people requires your story, the story of your students, story of the industry you represent, and how that industry has influenced your life, and how you're bringing all your experience to the classroom. And we got one more minute, and I'll just share briefly in this 1 minute while you write. People thought I was insane when I left the corporate world because it was very promising, extremely promising. But I knew that switching to academia, I had much more influence with young people than in the corporate world. In the corporate world, I received them. And when I received them, it was one thing. But when you're in the academic space, you have the opportunity to shape and mold, so that when you send them off to industry, you send them off equipped and prepared and positioned for success. Okay, thank you. It's 2:06. And I know you have some points down, and I want to congratulate you for that. So the story, get the story down. When you talk to these people, get the story down. And it's your story, so it should be very natural. You might even want to talk about the pathway infrastructure you're building and how you're positioning students for success. And you might not have all the elements, all the bells and whistles about, the pathway infrastructure. You might not have all of that, but you want to say, with your help, Mrs. Industry, with your help, I think we can do something for these students. I think we can really position them for success in the industry that you're in. Next is, right now on a piece of paper, I'm going to walk you through this really quick. So I have this approach that when you're trying to attract industry, you start from center to circumference. You start from center to circumference. Some of you might say, I am never starting from the center. I'll start from the circumference. That's perfectly fine. But for the most part, from experience, most people would start from the center and move out when trying to attract business people. From the center, I consider those in the center the people you trust the most. People you trust them. They could be your relatives, your friends. It could be the homie, right? And I'll get to that. And I know you're giggling back there. But the relative, your sister, who's an engineer for Boeing, she can commit for 15 minutes to be a guest speaker. She absolutely can. It could be your friends. It could be your friend who started their own company. It could be your cousin who just launched her second nail salon and just barely graduated high school, but she's on her second venture, a nail salon, and she's thriving. It could be your brother who's a sheriff, LA County Sheriff, right? It could be the homie that you begin to talk to engage. And who is the homie, right? So just listen, I hope, right? Who is the homie? Well, I live in East Los Angeles. I got a lot of those, right? But this is the person who was not in the best pathway, if you will, and probably circled through juvenile hall and jail and all these things, but realized they needed to change their life. And they probably have tattoos from the feet up, right? But they began to change their life. And let's say they went to a trade school and they became journeyman plumbers. And many times they went to your house and did a side job to unclog all your stuff. And he works in a trade. He works for a union, goes out every day, changes life through this, trade. Now, 3 to 5 years later, made enough money to move his whole family out of the hood, right? I think we all know who that might be. I think we all know a homie or two, right? So these are the people you can begin to attract: relatives, friends, and the homie who you grew up with, who lived across the street. These are the people who you can begin to talk to, okay? And so the next layer are friends of your relatives and friends of your friends. Friends of your relatives and friends of your friends. So even if the folks you trust they can't make it, but they have a person that they might want to refer to you, a coworker, for example, who would enjoy something like this, of being part of your pathway and influencing it to some degree. The last layer is the social events, folks you meet at church, social gatherings, when you were on the bus, hiking trip, right? These are folks that in these social events, you just get to know them, get to talk to them, what they do. They work here, they work there. Hey, if you can give me 15 minutes of your time, I'll love to bring you in as a guest speaker. And by the way, what the pandemic taught us is that we can live in a virtual bubble. Of course, we need a social life, but we can do work, we can do school within a social bubble. So if they can't physically show up, say, don't worry, I got you. I'll Zoom you in. Just give me 15 minutes of your time. The kids will love to hear your story of how you prepared yourself for a career at Boeing, right? So work this phase one of attracting industry partners, work it from center to circumference. So I'm gonna give you only 3 minutes, okay? So I'm gonna pause for 3 minutes and I want you to write some names down. Seriously, names, and don't make them up. Write some names down of people that you trust, friends, relatives, the homie, folks from church. Write those names down, okay? People that you think would be interested in this, okay? So take 3 minutes, just write them down. You already know who they are. You already know who that. So take 3 minutes and I'll call you right back at 2:14, 2:15. Phase one is attracting. And I want you to write down who you want to engage, attract, work from center to circumference. And don't worry, as you write those names down, my next slide is how to involve them. It's a very practical guide, how to involve them.
Leo, this is Ruth. Leila also mentioned on the chat, the businesses around the school site is also a good one to consider. Businesses around the school.
That's right. Businesses around the school. That's right. Thank you for that. And I would consider that the third layer, but it works. And I'm gonna give you a quick story as you write these names down. And as you write these names down, some of you would say, absolutely not. I am not starting with my cousins. I'm not starting with my sisters. I mean, I barely get along with them, right? Some of you are thinking that way, and I get it. I understand that space. I have 3 sisters. But you might thrive in the third layer. You might thrive in the third layer. You might not thrive in the first. You might thrive in the third layer, or maybe in the second. Okay. Some of it, I don't want nothing to do with my relatives, blah, blah, blah. But when hiking trips, absolutely, you can engage those folks, right? Church, you can engage those folks. Absolutely. Absolutely. So quick story. One of the, my cousin is married to, and I didn't know this, but I found out, just came into the family. And lo and behold, the gentleman is the CEO of Rancho Dominguez Hospital. Wow. Told me his story. He told me I said, tell me your story. What school did you go to? No executive education whatsoever. Just a physical therapist that had some heart to serve his community within that space. Now he's the CEO of USC Hospital, Jorge Orozco. He was my guest speaker about 3 years ago. He came twice to be my guest speaker. Believe me when I tell you, people want to serve. People want to help. I can assure you, there's a place in people's heart to give. The problem is we tell them you have to commit to the entire package, right? And they're like, whoa, wait a minute, I don't have time for all of that. Right? But listen, people want to serve. And we have to make it as practical as possible for them. And then gradually increase, okay? So some of my guest speakers have been from church, from relatives and relatives of relatives, but we're just talking. I said, whoa, you work for, oh, really? I need you to be my guest speaker. Give me 15 minutes of your time. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next slide. So center to circumference, work it, and you'll get results. I can assure you. Okay. Phase 2 of engaging industry. So we talked about phase 1, center to circumference. Phase 2, levels of involvement. All right. So yes, bronze, silver, and I just wrote that just so you and I can have a little giggle. But when you talk to industry, don't tell, well, we're gonna walk you through the phases. Just say, I would like you to get involved. I really would like you to get involved. Level 1, I consider just as a guest speaker. I want to Zoom you in for 15 minutes during your coffee break. How about that? I want to Zoom you in during your lunch break. Just give me 15 minutes. I just want you to tell your story and how you position yourself for that career. I want you to tell your story of your struggle and how you turn that struggle into energy to launch your first business. What you learned in the midst of that and all the troubles you went through. Tell us. Our students want to hear. So guest speaker, no problem. Zoom them in. I would even say if they can't Zoom in, right? Why not record it? Record it, visual record on audio, and I'll play it. No worry. Level 1 is also hiring. Why do I call that level 1? Is because guest speakers, it's super simple, right? Record it, give me an audio, I'll Zoom you in, no worries, right? Hiring students, I consider also level 1. Why? Because every single industry needs to hire. They need people. They're hurting for people, in fact, right? So they're gonna come to you right at the end when these young people are graduating. You're gonna hear them, you're gonna see them, right? So for them to come and hire, there's no problem. It influences their business. So you'll hear them towards the end, their senior year. Hey, I'm interested in so-and-so. I'm interested in tour customer service reps, interested in, entry-level partial handlers here. I'm interested in some young people who would be willing to do this and do that. You're going to get them at that level just because everyone needs to hire people. And the level 1 also includes something as simple as becoming a guest speaker. Level 2, I consider involves level 1. Level 2, on-site tours. Can you give us a tour, right, of your site? That gets a little complicated because there's some safety concerns on your end and on their end, right? But most of them will do that with a lot of caution. Mock interviews and real interviews, right? That's a little deeper in the relationship. On-site hiring, advisory, that gets a little deeper in the relationship. But level 1 transitions always into level 2. Level 1 always transitions into level 2. Sooner or later, as you work the relationship, level 1 will always transition into level 2. Now, will you have an industry partner, industry friend that would say, commit to level 2 right away? Yes, you will. Yes, you will. But most, you'll have to start at level 1 just to engage them with something as simple as a guest speaker. Again, level 2 are on-site tours, mock interviews or real interviews, on-site hiring, and advisories, okay? Now, let's move them on to level 3. This is the quote-unquote gold standard, right? Priority hiring for our students. Priority hiring. We're positioning for success. They've already learned some skills. They had an internship. We did a tour. We had some project-based learning experiences. All these things, we'll give them priority hiring. Curriculum guidance. A lot of, as you move on in the relationship, they want to influence curriculum. They want their curriculum to align to yours and yours to align to them, so that when they hire them, their training, instead of being a month, it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. Why? Because you've already been positioning them through curriculum and project-based learning and tours and guest speakers, all the influence that you had, the business influence that you had already positioned them. An MOU should follow. And I've seen this and I've done this personally, where we hire someone from the industry to become an instructor at your high school or at the community college, at your high school or at the community college, right? So this is, and then we move on to the platinum. Now that's more serious, right? I haven't seen many platinums. Level 4, that's when there's integration. That's when there's integration in the program, where there is, is this company came to our academic site to build a program together where we're working. We're working, for example, I know Rio Hondo is working with Tesla. I know Cerritos, I think Cerritos is working with Toyota, right? Our program, we teach our entire logistics program inside UPS facilities. That's integration, right? That is lasting. That is a quote, quote, marriage. Now we're coded in together. We're coded in together. But these are the levels of involvement. And again, start with level 1, make it simple, make it practical, and then gradually move them along. Now, you don't want to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Industry Partner, let's start with the platinum. Let's start with gold. You want to probably give them an example of how you're working with this industry and what level of involvement they have. You want to probably say that just because you want them to aspire towards that. But as far as their involvement, start with level 1. Make it practical, make it simple. What happens is, as they get involved, these students, their heart is going to broaden. And as their hearts broaden, as they see the kids, the students, their eyes light up. They see hope in their eyes. They answer their questions, right? As they see all of that, their heart will be enlarged. They're going to want to come back. And thank you for that. Internships and externships. And thank you. That is, I would consider that level 3 for sure. Level 3, that's on the hiring and internships. Hiring and internships. That should have been on there. Thank you for that. Okay, so here's some pictures. Here's Learn for Life. Learn for Life is a charter school, multiple charter schools all over the country. They have multiple schools in California, and they reached out to me because their young people wanted to study logistics. And they started a dual enrollment program at East Los Angeles College, anchoring them in getting a skill certificate in leadership and global logistics. A lot of their students started taking 3 courses with us and earning a skill certificate in leadership and global logistics. Prior to that, as they reached out, we started engaging with them, and we did a tour for their leadership. This is their leadership right here. We did a tour to Ontario. We had a blast. And as we were there in the operations and in the airport side, we were saying, hey, this is where our students will be. We want them to learn this. We want them to get a skill certificate and we want to position them for careers in the logistics industry. So this is the leadership at Learn for Life Charter School. They got multiple schools in LA, in the LA area. And then this is a group of young people from San Bernardino Unified, El Cajon. And they called me over because Amazon dropped couple $1,000 at their school and say, hey, build the logistics pathway for us. And they don't have a clue what logistics is. And then they found me on LinkedIn and say, hey, we hear you're Mr. Logistics. Can you help us? We don't have a clue what this is. So we started working together, and we built an infrastructure, and I brought their students to downtown Los Angeles, toured them in LA Metro. They had a blast. As they were walking around, we were exposing them to different departments at LA Metro. Each department each person naturally had a 2-minute story of how they ended up at Metro and how they're thankful for Metro for providing them a career opportunity. Those little stories inspired all these young people. They went back very, very encouraged and inspired. Here is Gardena High School. They have an awesome program there, in a business program, logistics program there. And the gentleman speaking there is Jose Banuelos. He's a manager at the UPS, HR manager. Literally, I'm not kidding. The gentleman works 10 to 14-hour days. But he set the time aside to talk to these young people about the skills that they need to thrive in the logistics industry. to thrive in the logistics and how they can position themselves and acquire the skills. So he was just talking, and he really engaged with them really nicely. And this is the person who's extremely busy. And here's this is Nick Ionicone. He is the vice president of UPS, vice president. And he is Camp Afraba and Camp Page. Where is this place? This is a juvenile detention center. This is a juvenile detention center. And how in the world I convinced this guy, I don't know. But I said, listen, Nick, these kids need to hear your story. They need hope. They need to see that we believe in them. Come with me. Tell your story. And let's position them for careers in logistics. He came, and I said, I wanted to make the burden as light as possible. I said, Nick, I'll pick you up. Nick, I'll buy you the coffee. Not that he wanted, I'll buy you the Nick, I'll be there. Picked him up. And as we were traveling, I'll never forget this. We were traveling, and he was on his smartphone. He was like this on his smartphone. And I saw him just swiping left, swiping left, swiping left, swiping left. And I was like, is he playing a game on his smartphone? The VP's playing. And I glanced, he was swiping and swiping on his smartphone, swiping and swiping. And then he just looked at me. He said, Leo, I can't delete them fast enough. He said, I delete one email, I get 3 more. I delete one email, I get 3 more. I can't delete them fast enough. He was he's a VP. And he will get emails. It was just constantly. And I got an impression, man, this guy is busy. He's a busy man. Now, of course, he wasn't deleting every email, but he said, I get 600 emails a day on a good day. Bad day, 900. So here he is, came with me. He sat down, engaging the young people, telling his story of how he grew up in the Bronx and how he saw this, he saw that, but education and a career at UPS positioned him. And now he's the VP, and how these young people, how they can be the same. That was his story. And phase 3, this is the last phase, is committing, right? So phase 1, you attract them, center to circumference, work it. Phase 2, levels of involvement, different levels of involvement. And in those levels, start with level 1, and you'll get 90% of the people in. Phase 3, in engaging industry, is commitment. This is a commitment on your end. And let me tell you, your commitment is contagious. Your commitment is like the virus. It's a positive virus. It's a good virus. And you want everyone to be contaminated and catch the pathway career education virus. We want to cause a pandemic all over, the states. A positive pandemic where everyone has been contaminated with the career pathway virus. Why? Because this type of education works. This type of education gets students involved. This type of education gets students to own their education, and in all the experience that they get in business and the engaging of business and the business practices within the school and in the classroom, this is very contagious. We want students to have an enriched academic program. We want the students to have an enriched academic program. But how do you get here? How do you get, people will see your enthusiasm, your passion, and it would be contagious. Be persistent with follow-up, follow with emails, phone calls, text messages, follow up with thank you communication. Please, I would implore you, follow up, follow up, follow up. It always works. After they've done their guest speaker, after they've gave you a tour, after they hired some of your students, after they provided an internship or extra, send that thank you communication, whether it's email, whether it's snail mail, right? Send that thank you. And that will go a long way. That will ensure that they come back and gradually move on to the second level. Follow up reinforces your commitment and will draw out theirs. Don't forget that. Your follow-up will reinforce your commitment to your career pathway, to your academic pathway, and they will draw out theirs every single time, every single time. Commit to walking them through the levels of involvement. Commit to learning and adding value. Commit to learning and adding value. And learning how to engage them, learning how to involve them, learning what to say, learning what not to say, learning when to say and when not to say. Learn and study your involvement with industry. And add value. Add value means, hey, don't worry, I got you for lunch. We're gonna have lunch at this advisory. Don't worry, we got you. And after this, here's a $5 gift card to Starbucks, right? Add value. Right before the kids, young people graduate, send them a reminder. Her kids will be graduating in 3 months. Let us know if you want to do mock interviews before. Let us know how we can add value to what you're doing, and you can hire our young people. Add value to what they do. They'll appreciate that. Why do they want to get involved? They want to get involved because they want to help you get students positioned for academic and career success. And at the same time, they want their ROI. They want to hire some of your students. So add value to what they do. And here, and I'll have Colleen talk a little bit about this. Here is commit to your students, right? Here is a prize, right? These are amazing teachers. We got Mike, well, we have Eduardo, and we have 3 awesome students there. This is a career pathway at Montebello Unified School District. They won number 1. I think they have 11 or 12 pathways there. And this global business logistics pathway won number 1 out of a big project, big competitive project or capstone that they had there. And I was just honored to be there. And commit to your students. And I'll end with this and a short video, and then I'll have some testimonials. This is William Castro. William Castro, if you can zoom in, he has a tattoo on his head. So he had a tough upbringing. We met him he was incarcerated. And since our logistics program, we also teach inside these juvenile detention centers. We met him there. He committed to 3 classes to end his leadership, to secure his leadership in global logistics skill certificate. And he earned it there. And as soon as he earned it, 2 days later, he was released. And he came to a celebration that we had at the community college. And we rewarded him with a skill certificate in leadership in global logistics. And he went on and got a job at UPS. UPS hired, they're up to about 15, 16 of these hires now. They learn logistics while they're incarcerated. And then while they learn it, UPS commits to hiring them. And I want to play a quick video how that works. My name is Leo Medina. I'm a professor at East Los Angeles College, and I teach courses in technology and logistics.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Jesus Corral. I am the Senior Director over Education Services for the LA County Probation Department. We're actually at Camps Afterball and Page today. We have a very exciting program and partnership with East LA College and UPS.
This partnership came about through my vice president, Dr. Ornelas, Armida Ornelas. They were looking for a program that is cutting edge, innovative, and can land these young people careers.
Our premise revolves around the idea of rehabilitation. And you really cannot have rehabilitation without education.
I'll make it a point to invite employers over to this camp. And as they come over, they talk to the young people about the skills needed to land a career and to thrive in their careers. We do our best to prepare them well.
Today is great. It's always great listening to the kids and talking to them and just inspiring them to further their education and to come work for UPS.
Don't allow whatever you did in the past to dictate what you're going to do in the future.
I want to introduce you now to Jose Banuelos. He's the UPS HR manager. He hires multiple people, hundreds of people a year for UPS careers. So I want to introduce him.
My personal commitment to you, finish this program, and when you're done through this process you're going through, someone from my staff, if not myself, will reach out to you and get you started in the employment process. That's my commitment to you. Okay, any questions for me? We're excited about the future and what it's going to bring to these young men. To keep them in school and keep them working is going to keep them out of trouble.
William was released last week, and he is getting ready to start with UPS any day now.
And as soon as he got released, had an interview right away. He landed a job, and now UPS is here offering him another job in logistics. And he is excited about it, and that's exactly what we're doing here, celebrating success.
It's pretty crazy because I didn't really think I could accomplish it, and I really did. In the future, I look myself as like a manager too.
These kids can go really far. And oftentimes you have to believe in them more than what they believe in themselves. And they can see that.
For many of these young people, they're the first in their family to ever be on a college campus. They're the future. And, you know, this is a real opportunity. And I'm proud to work for the LA County Probation Department. And I'm proud of the work that we're doing.
Do you love what you do?
I love what I do. I eat this breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love what I do. Okay. Well, every time I watch that, I choke up. It's quite a it really is quite an honor to be able to influence young people and position them for academic and career success. And if I can, before I turn it over to some of the folks, some of the students who I brought on to share some testimonials, and I think I have a UPS manager here to share a little bit, and I'm gonna also have Colleen, so be ready, Colleen, and I also have, I believe might have a principal out there that I might share a little story. But if you can come back when engaging industry is craft that story. That's going to be the most compelling thing. You know, how do I get the VP to come to, you know, to jail with me? Really, how do you do that? It's really compelling them. I remember going into these bunks where these young people are incarcerated, and I told an HR manager, you need to come with me. If you want to change people's lives, come. And this is a person who works 12-hour days, 14-hour days. And we sat on their bunks, and we just talked. Listen, I told him, I provide the education. This guy next to me provides the careers. I highly encourage all of you to join this program while you're here incarcerated. And we launched it soon after. We had a whole bunch of interest. But craft the story. And as you craft the story, that will lead into everything else, I guarantee you. Then take everyone through the phases, through the levels, and the attracting, right? And after the attracting, you get them involved. And as you gradually get them involved, that will gradually lead them into the different levels of engagement. If one industry partner says, you know, I could only do this right now, that's perfectly fine. You probably will never get no one to the quote, unquote, platinum level. You probably never, but you can at least get 1 or 2 or 3 to the silver or to the gold level. And that might take 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I mean, it took me literally 7 years, 6 years to get UPS to the platinum level, right? But I'm working with others and gradually moving them along and training other educators to do the same with their industry partners. Also learn to work from center to circumference. Learn to work from center to circumference. You will have immediate results working from center to circumference. Okay, I want to pause here, and I want to have my partner from UPS. I hope he's here. Are you here? Let's see. There he is, Oliver Jones. Okay, so I want to do a quick pause, and I want to allot the next 20 minutes or so to really bring an industry partner to talk to you, and then some testimonials, then to some educators. Okay, so I want to hand it over to Oliver. And Oliver, if you can, you know, tell us what you do at UPS and how all the educators here what UPS does and their involvement to prepare young people for careers, not only at UPS, but in every industry. Oliver.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you. Hope everyone can hear me okay. Leo, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. As Leo stated, my name is Oliver Jones. I've been with UPS 30 years as of this past March. My current job function is a training and development manager for the South California district for UPS. And what that basically means is my responsibility is to make sure when people are recruited, interviewed, and hired for UPS, they come through our process, which we call a cornerstone training program, which prepares people to perform the jobs that they're hired to do. I handle the facilities in La Mirada, Cerritos, all the way down to Chula Vista. And my partners, Debbie and David, cover the rest of our district, which is very large, which includes East LA, Van Nuys, San Gabe, Olympic, and various parts of the Southern California district. Glad to talk to you all on the call. I won't take too much time, but I think the way the educators can take part in this journey is obviously a lot of the things that Leo's already talked about. Our folks do the research, take a look at the opportunities that present people on a day-to-day basis. We all know that the world is shrinking, and the logistics part that Leo teaches our individuals and teaches people is really opening everyone's eyes on the opportunities that present themselves as people look for careers. So again, they do the research, find out what opportunities present themselves, take a look at the long-term goal. Is it going to be easy? Probably not. However, a committed person starts a project and finishes a project when it comes to career opportunities. The awareness of what not only UPS offers, but many other companies and organizations offer as well. Just be aware of what the history is of that company, what they offer in terms of benefits, salary, growth opportunities, and things like that. And another important part is always talk to people in the industry and get the words directly from their mouths, their journey, their path, their educational background, their social background, their ethnic background. I mean, everyone comes from different walks of life, but the main goal is to have opportunities for people to build their lives, build their careers, support themselves and their families. And the last thing I'll touch on is patience. We know that we live in a microwave world and people want things instantaneous, instant gratification. The patience involved is what's going to help someone succeed in their long-term goal. Some things will happen fast, some things will happen relatively slow, but as long as you stay the course and stay focused on the prize, believe me, it will be fast enough and the reward will be twofold. So the patience is part of it. The testimony, talking to people in the industries, logistics, and hear it from them directly, because different paths are taken to get to where they are. Again, continue to be aware of what's going on. There's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of companies. Some are fly by night, some are historically in business for a long time, such as UPS and many others. And also the big O word, opportunity. It's right here in front of everyone as long as they stay focused on educating themselves and sticking to the programs that ELAC offers and what Leo and his folks are subject matter experts at in creating opportunities. And as he stated before, UPS continues to hire people that come through these programs, and we are going to continue that relationship and hopefully grow it moving into the future as well. So that is my introduction in a nutshell. I hope I shed some light on the way UPS looks at things. And you know, one more thing I'd like to add is no one should be discouraged from chasing what they want to do in their life. So these career opportunities are here. They're now. They're not traditional jobs. Logistics is what it's all about. And that's where the nation and the world are going, because technology is just going to take over and make things a lot more simple for everyone involved. So Leo, I'll turn it back to you, and thank you very much.
Great. Let me ask you a quick question. Just for insight and everyone and to understand where you come from. How challenging is it for a person like you to be involved with high school and such as guest speakers and tours and just advisories? Is it challenging? And if it is, how do you find the time? How do you, Oliver Jones, find that time?
And that's a very good question. I can answer it in one simple term. It's basically focusing on what you want to get done and how you want to help others. You know, UPS has policies on how we give back to the communities we serve, and this is a classic example of it. Leo spoke earlier about Nick Iannacone, who used to be my actual boss, how busy he is. But guess what? Busy is busy, but when you take the time and carve out a niche to talk to young folks that are starting their careers and want to better themselves, this time is valuable and you cannot put a price on it. As busy as we all are, You got to take the time to set aside the time and do what's right for our communities. And this is a classic example of it. I apologize for not having my camera on. I've had some problems with my camera, but I do have my still picture there. But to Leo's point, yes, you know, a lot of times people say, now's not a good time. Now's not a good time. Well, as we get older and do our careers, we realize that sometimes there never is a good time. You have to make the time. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And like I mentioned in the talk earlier for all the educators, everyone has a heart. Everyone wants to help to some degree or not. And if you kind of keep that as a rule and tap into that when you have a conversation with them and try to commit them at the most basic level, they'll do it. They'll do it. And then they'll gradually move their way into the different levels of involvement. Okay, so now I want to transition to some students. I have 2 short student testimonials, and then I'm going to have some educators talk a little bit about their program. So I want to first start off with Brittany. Are you there, Brittany?
Yes, I am.
All right, so share your story.
Okay, so first I want to thank everyone for being here. I hope all is well with you and your family. And to furthermore, I am Brittany Sigala. I have been one of Mr. Medina's students since I was in high school. Now I am a 3rd year student at Cal State Fullerton. And now I'm really honored to see Oliver Jones because now he is my boss. And I didn't know of his existence till today. So I'm honored to meet him today, and he gave a wonderful speech. And I also want to thank Mr. Medina for showing that amazing video. It was very touching and emotional. So I do want to point out a little bit about that. And just a quick background about me and logistics. I started taking logistics classes since high school. I was a sophomore when I met Mr. Medina. That's where I took 3 classes of logistics. And then I graduated from high school, went straight to Cal State Fullerton. And then from there, I just recently finished 2 of my classes in logistics, which I got 2 skill certificates. Therefore, I was honored to give it the position as a supervisor job at UPS in La Mirada. So from there, I recently started working. It's going to be my 3rd month working as a supervisor, and all I could say is I love my job. I am a trainer for Cornerstone, and what that means, I'm one of the first individuals who gets to interact with the new employees and build a new relationship. Before this video, I was actually in another Zoom meeting with one of my new trainees, helping him balance both work and school. And I'm actually going to introduce him to this logistic program at ELAC. So from my experience. And further along, like I said, I am a 3rd year student at Cal State Fullerton. I might, from the looks of it, graduate next semester. So that's very exciting, but at the same time stressful. So that's all I can say.
Thank you. Thank you. And what high school did you start taking logistics courses in?
I started taking logistic courses in Maywood Academy High School. It's a really small school in the LAUSD district. And I've been going to ELAC since freshman year in high school. So I'm still taking classes at ELAC till this day, but all I could say is that I've been glued to Mr. Medina for now 5 years, and we created this partnership, and now we're helping these individuals grow and give them a starting position to their new future. And I'm just an honor to be of this program. And as a 20-year-old person, being able to help people around the same age as me is just astounding and very admiring to see people who are seeking to grow, but they just need that little starting point and that little push from us. So
excellent. Thank you. And Cal State Fullerton, you graduate. We had a talk recently, spring, right? Okay, good. Excellent. Stick to that plan. You'll be all right. Fantastic. Thank you. I've known Brittany for a couple years now. She was very, very young when she started taking logistics courses at Maywood Academy, LAUSD, Maywood Academy. Very driven young lady, and till today she remains driven. So I appreciate her. And I have Javier, another testimonial. Javier Tomas, are you there, Javier?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Okay. All right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Javier Tomas. I am currently in high school in the 11th grade. I've known Professor Medina for some time and has helped me encourage in most of my taking in logistics courses. I've been taking logistics courses since my 9th grade. high school I go to is International Studies Learning Center in Southgate. Currently, I am working to getting my associate science degree in logistics before I graduate high school, as well as I'm getting my license in drones so I can start my own business in drones. I'm currently thinking on the university I go to because there's a lot of competition with the virus going around. But my main focus right now in the university is probably USC, since there's a lot of opportunities in the university, but it's still a going on process since I'm still at a young age and much can happen during that time. But it's been an honor working with Professor Medina. He's encouraged me so much time. I'm currently the ambassador for the high school, and we have helped a lot of students, encourage them to taking logistics courses, and it's an amazing proposition, and it's encouraged me to help more people and students in young age, and it's been amazing. Like, I always wanted to help these students. I've seen students who are confused and taking college courses, and once Professor Medina told me about being the ambassador, I had the opportunity, and lots of people loved it.
Great. Thank you. And did you mention your plan before high school? I don't know if you mentioned, did you mention your plan before high school? The academic plan that we talked about.
Right, my academic plan. So, what's it called? My academic plan was to go directly to
the AS, the associate's degree.
All right. Yeah, I said it. I said I was going to get my associate degree before I graduate high school and go directly to a university.
Right. Thank you for that. That's my fault. Okay. Well, we
No, it's all right. Don't worry.
All right. I'm gonna keep you on check on that. Brittany, thank you. Javier, thank you. These are two amazing young people, LAUSD product, and just with the little guidance, they thrive. The young people thrive. I want to ask if, before I bring Colleen and Montebello Unified, I want to ask if Michael is here from International Studies Learning Center. Okay. All right. Okay. So I want to introduce Colleen. Colleen's a good friend, Colleen Perez, and I want her to tell you about Pathways at MUSD, which I personally consider a model for the entire state of California. And Colleen, can you tell us a little bit about what you do out there and about the pathways that you all serve?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Leo, and the regional directors for inviting us to be a part of this. I've actually been acquainted with Leo now for about 5 years, and I've had the good fortune to work with Leo to really help us build one of our 11 pathways from the Montebello Unified School District. I am a pathways coordinator in our district. And so in addition to having career pathways, we have a legacy career technical education program through our ROP program. And so Pathways actually is standing upon that foundation that was laid before us with ROP, and really kind of allowed us to grow and thrive in our district. And so how Leo and I became acquainted actually was because Leo was still working with East LA College, and we had just started our Global Business and Logistics program. And it was a brand new program. It was, an idea someone had, and I heard about Leo, and someone said, you have to talk to him because he's going to really make this grow. And he's really going to help that transition from secondary ed with the students into post-secondary really become a lot smoother than expected if we tried to do it by ourselves. So Leo's been a wonderful partner for us. In fact, Leo, and in addition to Leo, some of the regional directors who are on the line as well, Ruth, as she's been very supportive with our global business pathway. Katie Mishler, also, we appreciate, the support, and Judy Fox as well. I know we've invited you all, and one of the areas I think that we've done really well in terms of our district is finding a way to align our efforts. So it's having that conversation of really, okay, thinking about what is the ROI, not only for our district and for our students, but also for the partners that we are collaborating with. And so having those conversations. Yes.
Are you there? Sorry, we lost your.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come back again.
Good. Loud and
Okay.
clear.
Oh, that's my internet connection. Sorry about that. And if you see my still pictures, I'm having some trouble with my computer. But what I was sharing is that we've been allowed to align our efforts. And I think that's continued the conversation, and our partnership has really benefited from that, is finding out all these different programs that are going on. We've expanded our access to resources because of the partnerships that we have, for example, with Leo, East LA College, and other school districts who are really doing what we're trying to do, which is really better prepare our students for the future. And so it's been a wonderful experience so far. We look forward to continuing that experience with Leo. In fact, we've invited our partners to not only participate in mock interviews, but we have something called the senior exhibition. And this is when we have our senior students in our career pathways actually demonstrate a mastery of their skills through a project, and they get critiqued by partners and the community. And so Leo, Ruth, Katie have all been a part of that process. And it's been wonderful because the students get feedback from outside of their school and really getting some ideas about how they can continue their education. So thanks again, Leo. It's been a wonderful experience. And by the way, on a side, I want to say congratulations to the students who provided their testimony. That's wonderful. That's the fruits of the labor that we're investing in and all of the work that we're doing. So so thanks, Leo, again, and thanks, regional directors, for having Montebello be a part of this as well.
Thanks so much, Colleen. Good to see you here.
Same here.
Fantastic. Excellent. What I want to do really quick is I want to do something. I want let's see, there it is. Oh, wrong one. Okay. I want those, we still have 45 people here. I want you to put my information on your phone, and I want you to send me a text, and just say, hey, I'm from this school district. How can I serve you? How can I serve you? I'm here currently in Pasadena. I have an office here in Pasadena, right on Colorado Boulevard. And so we can chat here, talk a little bit about your pathway, what pain points you have, and see how we can solve problems together and build an infrastructure, pathway infrastructure together. And I live in East LA, not the safest place, but I converted my garage into a cafe. And so it's a safe environment. It's a cozy environment. So I'll also invite you there. I'll also invite your team there if you like. But nevertheless, please take a picture, put it on your smartphone, send me a text. Send me a text today and say, hey, let me know how I can serve you, how I can serve you. Okay, so with that, we have a half hour, and I'm kind of sensitive to you being zoomed out. But I think, Katie, is it fitting to end here or to open it up for questions? Maybe it'd also be good to open it up for some questions.
One more thing, Leo, do you want to just set them up for next week, what they have, what you're planning to do next week?
Yep.
And also, if I could ask before everybody logs out, if you could tell us a little bit about what school or what pathway you're on. I know in the Zoom invite, in the Evite, we didn't have the field for organization, but we'd love to know what school you're coming from. And so can you just kind of get us excited for the second session?
So next week, I most likely will be in the cafe. Today, I'm in Pasadena in the office. So when you guys want to come, we'll chill here for a little bit. There's a nice lobby downstairs. We can also, it's right across the street from Earth Cafe. So we'll go to Earth if you want to. But next week, I'll take it from the cafe, from my house, the cafe. And I want to get you excited about two things. Number one, how to have an effective advisory. And how to get the best out of your advisory. Number one. Number two, I also want to teach you how to build an infrastructure, probably the best way, a network of middle schools in the area and how to create a network of talent from the middle schools. So how to engage the middle schools in your area, where to start, and how to attract young people, align them to your career pathway, So those are the two topics I'll be talking about next week. And I'm also gonna give you, we're also gonna give you, the Proven Ready team and we're gonna give you a toolkit. I call it the playbook. It's a toolkit playbook. So there's 10 documents that I created as a playbook. So whenever you're having trouble, you pull out you pull it out from the playbook and you run the play. You run the play of how to, run your advisory, how to build industry partnerships, how to create a network with middle schools. You just grab that from the playbook and run the play. So next week, we're gonna get you, talk to you a little bit about the toolkit that we have for you. All right, Ruth.
Awesome. Katie, are you on? Anything from your end?
Yeah, no, I'm here. That's all I have. A really great presentation and wonderful seeing you all and interacting, and looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
This is Judy. If anyone has any questions or comments for Leo in the meantime, between now and next week, I know it's a lot to absorb, and sometimes it takes some time to digest everything, and then you might come up with questions. So Leo, I'm not sure if we have dropped your email address in
it's in the contact. It's in the
content there. Okay, good. So yeah, we just appreciate your feedback. We want to make sure that we're hitting all the points that we need to make this the most meaningful and useful information for you to be able to use. So thank you for coming, and we would appreciate your feedback.
Yeah. Any questions for me? We'll make it the
There
question.
is one that Lila's there. I see her hand.
It's more of a comment than a question. I wanted to say thank you to Professor Medina. So our director, Jaime Ledesma, introduced us to Mr. Medina over the summer. And really, you kind of were a driving force and Jaime's energy in getting us started with our advisory. And I have to say that during this challenging time that we are facing, we've gotten our advisory off the board, and it's really been something that has been very fulfilling for us as a team. And I think it's going to really benefit our school site and the kids. So I'm really grateful for you and helping us get this started.
Thank you.
Can I add something else, Professor, to it? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, Jaime.
Okay, thank you. Well, again, I want to say thank you. I actually met Mr. Medina over training at East LA College, and he took me, I want to say about a year to get in touch with them, because I was embarrassed to ask for help, because I'm supposed to be able to do it on my own. But like Ms. Lujan said, it's a team effort. And sometimes it's you're gonna need that assistance from someone else. Even though I don't teach any CTE, I teach math. Like Ms. Lujan said, we just got the advisory board off the ground, and we had this academy for a while now. And honestly, because talking to you, I feel like I'm in the platinum level, even though I'm in the bronze. I feel like I have all the things that you mentioned. I have them in my head. Now the next thing is, how do I put those into play? And with your guidance, I think it has helped us a lot. And I want to say thank you for that. And continue to work with you and all the help you give us. And you're great, man. I appreciate all the work. Thank you.
Thanks for reaching out, Jaime. It's a team effort. It's a team effort. You got a great team there.
All right. You don't have any more questions? I think we're good.
If I can make a quick comment before we get dismissed.
Yeah.
Hi there, guys. My name is Thomas Mundo, automotive instructor over at Whittier High School. I gotta say, I was extremely surprised with the class. I was very, very satisfied with the content. Just kind of like a little, I see a lot of thank yous, great presentation, but it was really good. I would probably say that our automotive department has a very, very large advisory meeting. We're very solid, but there's always room to grow, and in the last year or so, I've been really trying to develop partnerships with some of the businesses in the area. So I really look forward to next week's class and picking some ideas from Leo as well. Mr. Medina, definitely trying to get some ideas from you. That'd be nice. So I'll be reaching out to you.
Sweet, thanks.
I had a quick question. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Swati Desai. I work with Tech Charter and I teach at Riverside School site. So we have schools in Moreno Valley, Paris, and Indio. Recently, we have implemented pathway curriculum for logistics and transportation. And next week, I would like to hear from you guys. How do you like kind of detailed roadmap, if possible? How do you establish partnership with the warehouses nearby? Because you might be aware that in Riverside County, especially near Moreno Valley and Paris on 215 South Belt, there are so many warehouses. So I was wondering, like, um, how do you engage those businesses to establish a partnership with charter school, number one, and what is the roadmap for a community college to kind of do articulation for these courses that we are offering? If we can talk about it next week, that will be great.
Sure. I can touch upon it really quick.
Sure.
You're talking about developing industry partnerships within the space of where you're at. If you're in an Inland Empire, that's the mecca of logistics there.
Yes.
They call it the mecca of logistics.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, I would start with their website. Most will have a community relations department that you can tap into.
Okay. I'm going to write down. So if I'm not looking at the camera, just bear with me.
Yep, no problem. So I would say first you want to go to the website, look for community relations.
Okay.
Give them a call. Now I've done that in the past. I would say out of about 10 times, I've only got about 2 or 3 hits or feedback. What I would do is, apart from that, I would follow up with a visit, and I would go there physically and knock on their doors and ask for human resources, or ask for, if HR is not there, ask for a manager or someone. And that is always very, very effective.
Okay.
Why? Because when that person comes out, you'll be able to have a conversation with them.
Sure.
Come out. If not, you go back or you follow up with email, phone call, and all that good stuff. And then, so when you have a conversation with, whether it's over the phone and face to face, you'll be able to communicate the story. Remember the story. You'll be able to communicate your pathway story and how you want to connect to that particular distribution center, that particular company. Why? Because you want to align and prepare your students for those careers, for the careers that are in there. And I want to work with you. I want to work with you and consider some speaker tours and prepare people for the industry that you represent. So website first. Second, I would follow up with the visit and then a phone call. And I think, within a week or two, you should have some feedback.
Sure. Except that in Corona time, everything is virtual. So yeah, I'm going to try my best, and let's see if we get some results.
Yep.
That was that. And is there any special protocol that we can have with community colleges nearby? for this pathway?
Good question. That's a great question. You have, who has dual enrollment in the area? So what community college is nearby?
Marina Valley and Riverside. And actually MSJC, Mount San Jacinto College's Menifee campus is also close by.
Also
Yeah.
just applying
I would
period.
highly recommend you reach out to them, to their dual enrollment department, and start connecting with them and tell them about your pathway and how you're preparing students within the logistics industry. And if they have a logistics pathway, and if they don't have a logistics pathway, what's closest to a logistics pathway? So it could be business management, business operations, and so on and so forth. But it's going to start with a little research online. And if all fails in your area, East Los Angeles College, we have 100% online logistics program. 100%.
That means our students, if they are moving to East Los Angeles, they can get credits for the courses that they've done with us.
Say that again.
I mean, if I understand what you said, right? If I understand that, you are saying that when our students finish this logistics pathway, and if they move to East Los Angeles and enroll in that college, they will get credit for those courses that they've done with us in high school?
No.
No, you don't.
An articulation, right?
No,
Yeah,
no.
It's just,
he was just saying that if they're interested in other programs beyond the Riverside.
Yeah.
Another resource is the regional consortium. I know here in LA, we have the LAOC regional consortium, which all of us work under. They can point you out to the right departments within that community college of folks that do articulation and dual enrollment, because I know different so you don't have to go college by college.
Yeah.
So they're a good resource to a place to start.
Sure, I'll look into it.
Just reach out to the chair. Each region has a chair. So just reach out to the chair and say, this is what I'm interested in. And they can connect you either to a regional director that specifies in that sector, or they could also connect you to the colleges that can help you with dual enrollment and articulation process.
Yeah, and I just put this is Katie, I just put my email in the chat. So please feel free to email me, because I do have a colleague in the Inland Empire for transportation and logistics.
Awesome.
So he will, and Leo, Larry McLaughlin, so he will be able to assist you in your area with the colleges and hopefully with some industry connections as well. So I put my email in there, kmishler@cerritos.edu in the chat box. So if you send me an email, I'd be more than happy to connect you with him.
Perfect. I will do that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Phenomenal.
And so with that, we're going to let you go a little early so you can TGIF, enjoy the start of your weekend. Just a quick note, if someone else registered on your behalf, please reach out to us so we can make sure you're connected and receive the materials and the recording, because we'll be going off of that list. So if someone else registered for you, make sure you reach out so we have your email. Thank you so much, and thank you, Leo, and we will see you guys, quote unquote, next Friday. Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.